I think one of the biggest area of this thing has been everything thinking outside the box.
When you come into a problem with numbers, analytics behind it, then you pretty much have the confidence you need that, hey, let's take this risk.
They need to learn how to take a risk. Innovation comes with a great deal of risk. And if you don't take a risk, you can't be innovative because innovation comes with a huge risk.
Welcome to my legal academy, helping lawyers work smart, scale fast, and enjoy life.
First time recording this, and it's actually our second time, but you know what? This done is better than perfect. I'm super excited to be able to do this show with you. If you guys don't know who Hamid is, Hamid has a Silicon Valley background, which Hamid will probably give a little short summary of it shortly. But he's also been my mentor the last couple of years, and he's been able to help me.
Actually, like 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years, and it's been able to grow. But basically, you took your 40 years of experience, and we're been able to hand it to me in the last 4 or 5 years, and now I also take those lessons and I also pass them off to members inside of our My Legal Academy program. So it's kind of good to be able to, for both of our audiences, to be able to get to know each other, and hopefully this show will be a place for you guys to get to see our real side, and a place where we can share your stories. And I kind of see this vision where we could talk about life, talk about law firm, talk about AI, anything that's innovative and very future forwarding kind of thinking and big picture kind of thinking about law firms. We want to really explore that. Hamid, can you give a short little summary of who you are and what you do?
Sure, Sam. It's a good introduction, but
if you don't mind, a little
absolutely.
bit
So basically what I started off was in the high-tech industry when I was very early ages, and it was very colorful beginnings because it was early days in Silicon Valley. I was 17-year-old engineer.
What years were those?
This is early 80s, 1980 actually. And no internet, no cell phones. That's how we got started. And I was working with several good high-tech companies, and one of the more colorful one was Sun Microsystem, which was a very innovative environment, great people, great team, great vision. I was there about 8 years, and then moved on to a bunch of other companies, HP, Compaq, and I got my MBA there while I was doing that. It was a lot of fun, but it was the most discipline that I ever got working there, and that stayed with me throughout the entire career. It's having that discipline created from a high-tech environment, which is very structured. So that was very good. And then moved to LA, run a publicly traded company for a while.
During that time, you probably skipped over how long were you in Silicon Valley?
I was there about 20 years.
20 years. And what were the public companies like?
Sun Microsystem was the greatest one. And then Hitachi, Compaq, HP. And that took about 20 years of the career.
And what were your positions and roles in those?
Since I was an engineer with a business mind, mainly was developing new market segments, business developments in the high-tech area, expansions, partnerships, and so forth. Mainly in the way of a business development executive with a tech background, which everything you do in Silicon Valley, you need to have some sort of a tech background. Otherwise, it's not going to go well. So that's how it started off. And then moving to LA and doing sort of the same thing with a more of a global vision. And then after that, setting up a couple of my own enterprises and different type of companies. And then I sort of fell into the law, pretty much by accident. Trying to help a friend to sort of fix a law firm. Fell into it, and I saw a huge opportunity. And the great thing was meeting people like yourself within that process. I would say it was a very virgin industry. For somebody like myself coming from Silicon Valley, it almost like taking the clock back another 10, 20 years back and start over again. So that's what the law looked like when I got into it.
And you essentially came on as a COO, running the operations, the marketing, business development side of things.
Yeah, it was more of a sort of try to see what I can contribute to and what I can fix and so forth. And I said, boy, there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of things to fix. So it wasn't like fixing one thing. It was like fixing a lot of things. Anywhere from, automation, technologies, staffing, marketing, almost like every element of law practice was frozen in time, like 20 years frozen and never moved. Everybody followed everybody. Everybody did the same thing everybody's doing, using the same tools, if there was any tools. So it was got very exciting real quick that there is a lot of opportunities. And the funny thing is that I wasn't really know what the destination was. And then I start getting calls from people. It says like, can you come and do that for us? And I was like, what is that? And so I don't know. I just heard you do that stuff. And that's how I sort of moved on and became a stuff. And it grew and grew. And now we're a company of close to 200 staff and about 1,000 agents. And we work with 500-600 law firms. And I'm involved in a lot of things with you in the different elements of law and the different business models and so forth. And I have other partnerships with other folks. It's been an amazing experience.
A lot of it is built on relationship first, with a very grandiose mission, with a lot of technology, with a lot of marketing, to do what both of us do, and be able to, we were able to both take our expertise and be able to apply it to the legal market. And now, as you mentioned, across different companies, across multiple law firms, across hundreds and thousands of clients that we are both able to serve. It's been a fun ride.
Absolutely.
Hey, hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you're a lawyer and you're looking to work smart, scale fast, and enjoy life, right below this video, you'll find a link to book a call to speak to my team so we can tell you how we've been able to help over 500 law firm owners scale their law firm. Now back to the video.
I think one of the biggest area of this thing has been everything thinking outside the box and not being tied into a process, the old process or old mentality, just like trying to do everything that they haven't done before. That was probably the biggest challenge, fun, and the success was don't do what everybody's doing the things they haven't done, so you can experience new things and expand and grow. So it still holds after like 6-7 years of doing this. It's still trying to find out things that needs to be innovated and created.
Is that innovative mind, is that created in people, or is this something that could be taught to people? If people just say need to be innovative, do they need to partner up with people, or is it how does that?
No, they need to learn how to take a risk. Innovation comes with a great deal of risk, and traditionally professional folks like medical professionals, accounting professionals, legal professionals are not risk takers. They sort of went to the field to almost not take a risk. So if you don't take a risk, you can't be innovative, because innovation comes with a huge risk of not succeeding. So the first element I always tell folks that try to coach them on is learn to take a risk. Okay, you're going to fail a few. I learned this through venture capital interactions I had in Silicon Valley. They invest a lot of money in a lot of different ideas. And I said, how do you make sure you actually have an ROI? It says, look, if 1 or 2 out of my ventures, out of the 10, make it, I have made millions, or if not billions. So I said, so 20% conversion, basically. If I'm investing in 10 places, 2 of them pays off, I have made it. So that was the risk element. So yeah, I can risk an 8 terrible one, failed one, to make the 2 successful. So that's been the message.
And I think that's the requirement. It's as you mentioned risk, I was thinking about calculated risk versus blind risk. And I feel like a lot of people don't take risk because it's completely, they're in the blind of what does it take, what are the numbers behind it, other things, and when they don't know that, then they're afraid to take the jump. But instead, when you come into a problem with numbers, analytics behind it, then you pretty much have the confidence you need that, hey, let's take this risk with a 20% conversion rate. Then that will, even if it doesn't work out, we still have a 20% chance of it working out really well.
Right, but even if you're taking the risk with a calculated scenario, there is no guarantees. It's still, because you're doing some predictive analysis, you're doing some predictive decisions. It's a prediction. It might go, it might not go. It's still a risk. It doesn't matter how much you calculate it. Because if it was that sure, then everybody would be doing it, everybody would be a billionaire, and everybody whatever. But that's not the case. At some points, you have to stop calculating and start doing. Because you could be calculating the heck out of things for years and not doing anything about it.
Right. And I feel like I learned this lesson from you early on. I would come to you, I'm like, hey, should I do this, or should I, or it would either be this or this, which a lot of people, fall into that trap. It's always the or kind of decisions. Or they ask, should I do this, right? But after 1 time, 2 times, 5 times, I started coming to you with these questions. You're like, yes, yes, or you say both. And then I'm like, okay, it's my sixth time asking, and I'm still getting the same answer. So maybe the answer is always yes or both. And that's when I think I stopped asking as many of those questions, and I found that that's the pattern is yes, just go for it.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, it's just by doing it. Ultimately, you don't know until you know, and you only know when you do it. So go do it until you know, kind of
You
mentality.
can't win with not doing. This is the first formula. You have to do to succeed. So if you don't do it,
Right.
then you never have no chance of success. So my answer is always do it. Do it in controlled environment. Do it based on a plan. But two very common words in the tech industry is proof of concept and a pilot program. You're not signing your name for indefinitely to be doing something or investing in something. You test it, you try it on a controlled environment, in a controlled time frame or whatever. If it works, it's great. And if it doesn't, you stop and you do something else. You never stop and not do anything.
And I guess also for us, we kind of coming into this conversation, we realized maybe we should do this with people also. Before we jump into bed and make long-term commitments, let's test things out with a short-term kind of projects, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day kind of goals,